Are we truly alone in the universe? Years ago, I saw some bizarre lights in the sky, and my curiosity was piqued. This led me down a rabbit hole to discover who these visitors might be and where they might come from. On my journey, I found out that many other people were having these direct encounters with beings from other dimensions, and that I too could communicate with them directly. So guys, we are, for me, a little bit different setting, but we're all good. We're sunk up, as we were just saying, with Roxanne's time zone, 1 p.m. for me. And today we have Roxanne. Roxanne's back. Welcome, Roxanne.
Hey, thanks for inviting me back in.
Oh, glad to have you, always.
Absolutely.
So what's been happening in Roxanne's life?
Hot Texas heat. Holy
Right.
cow. I mean, you
Yeah.
stay inside most of the time. You got AC going, I get it. But, between here and the car, or you just know, just 107 cents, noon, 108.
Oh, wow. That's
hot.
like, that's the normal, like daily normal?
Yeah.
Oh my
We're
God.
right now, we're about 102 right now. And so by the time it's 5, 6 o'clock, it'll reach that 107, 106, 107 mark.
Wow. And does it stay consistent through the night?
In the night, you'll probably get down to about 92, 93.
Wow. So I can't believe it's been a year since we had, I've been doing this now on the membership. You were one of our first guests that came in when I first got started. And now we've been doing this pretty consistently for a year now. So welcome back. So cool.
Oh, man, just excited. I when you said that, I was like, holy cow, it's been a year.
Yeah. Some of us here on the call have been on, on this journey with me from the beginning. So I appreciate all the support, and
From the get-go.
it's now we've got I've turned the podcast. We just released your podcast episode. We turned it into a podcast, so to say.
Yeah.
A year later, but still, it's that's kind of the rhythm I think I'm going to be on, is doing the podcast a year delay. So all of the
That's
the
cool.
brave ones who are willing to join me here, join live, can get the latest, greatest stuff. But the things that come, the information that comes through, even our episode way back several years ago now, the information, it never gets old. That's the beauty of this stuff, is it ages quite well.
Yeah. See, I look at information, and I think of it in terms of transient. Humans go through their own experiential life of maturity, and we, by nature, we like to learn, we change, and we also have habits of holding on to safety and securities. But there's a transcendence point that encompasses the human experience that stands the test of time, like the Seth material.
Right.
Some of that stuff that's core to the fractal, core to the experience of humanity. And if you can bring that out, it'll stand until the species ascends, because it's valid as a part of the experience of everyone playing the game of human incarnation, playing the game of separation, forgetting you're a God, that kind of thing. So when you manage to pull that, there's, of course, doesn't mean transit material is invalid. It means it's applicable for the moment, but then later on, we've matured past that. So there was a time that people thought this way, and then they matured. And when we're talking about maturing, we're not talking from a kid to a grown-up maturing. We're talking about self-evolution maturity, becoming a more intelligent God returning to yourself, type of maturity, right? And I think that's very valid. But when you have the applicable, this is what I need in the moment, and then later on, I don't need it anymore. It helped me get through that. So they're both valid, but when you get the information that just stands time, that's really good. I enjoy that, right?
And there's some juicy bits in all of the interviews I've been doing, but even going back to our original talk, 2016. Yeah, I think that was the year. It just, and it's reaching new audiences. Wait. Let's go back. Let me see that cup again.
Oh, Yeah, my Odyssey, God the fuck up.
Oh, great. That's awesome. I love it.
We said it one time, Sly was talking and he was pissed off. And he said, just God the fuck up. You know, he was like, you're,
Love it.
you gotta God up. If you keep being this, you're never going to be a God, that kind of thing.
I
So
like
if someone said, put that on a freaking mug, Roxy. So I did. And
awesome. And we can get those through your website?
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. All
Right.
right. I want to get one of those. Cool. So this past year, you wrote a couple books, or you wrote a book, and you're working on a couple, you just said. So I
Mhm.
know last year you had just finished the Angel book. What was it
The
called?
Angelics, yeah.
And that's the title, The Angelics?
Yeah, the Angelics.
And I know if you here on the call tuned in and listened to it and or read it and have some good reports back. And what are you working on now?
The next one is called Venusia. The idea was when this came to me, it's a universe, right? And it's called the 5 realms of the continuance. And it's like a central sun, and around this big central sun is 5 different realms. You have the realm of possibility, the angelic realm, the nether realm, the realm that we're in right now, where Earth and our universe sits. There's just these different realms and there's stories within them. So the first one was the angelics, to introduce us to the realm idea and their way of measuring time and their philosophy, which is all ascension stuff, that they're incarnations and, the angels that humans say the angels are what humans say. But when you actually meet an angel, then you get to actually see what an angel incarnation is from the experience instead of the book idea. So that's where it's written on that. And Venusia is the next book, and that's about the next species that chooses to be separated. They're called the Akua. I named them the Akua. They live on Venus, which will become Venusia. And they're the replacements for the human incarnation to experience separation, not knowing they're part of creation, and about their awakening. And then I think the third one, there's 8 books I have in mind. The third one's going to be the staff bearers, and they're in their own little realm. They're the only species in that realm, and they're called the staff bearers, those light bearers. And you get a taste of them in the angelics. So, and then there's others, and then I channeled this little during one of my advanced classes. I channeled the idea of evil from a representation, so we can understand that from the evil point of view, it's not evil.
Mm-hmm.
It's lollipops and rainbows. It's this or that. It's, a frog is a frog and evil is an evil. But from a perspective of the human, we have the idea that we can measure evil through polarity measurement, duality. Like we have good and we have bad, so we can say that's evil. So without that, from an evil point of view, they were just being themselves. So we were kind of, talking about that and getting an understanding to introduce us to the vibration and things like that. There's all the possibilities in creation, because you can't leave anything out or you're duping yourself, right? So, and then I got this idea about this book called Chinks in the Armor, and it's a horror. And so I started that one. So that one is kind of, I think I'm going to not write staff bears because I really want to finish this one and see how I do on that. So yeah, that's the book thing, right?
So going back to Venusia, so there's and is that just one book, like many chapters within one, or is it a series part of a series? Sorry, I was a little confused there.
Yeah, I'm gonna write a series of 8 books that go along. All the stories will be tied together, and Venusia is just its own separate book, but it's included in the 5 realms of the Continuance book.
Oh, okay.
Does that mean so? The first one
No.
is the Angelics. The second book will be Venusia. Third is the Staff Bearers. Fourth is Dwarven. Fifth is the Monarchs. Sixth are going to be the Merfolk. Seventh, I think is going to be the Witches. And I haven't decided a title. I know the species for the 8th. So I have it somewhere in my mind. And they're going to travel between the different realms. You have the Fey realm is part of it. So that'll be the Dwarven realm. And we'll go and play in Agartha a little bit with the Dwarven folk and write some stories about that. So that's the whole idea.
And that's a lot of different areas to go in. Are you channeling most of it? Is it mostly coming through?
This is just as writing.
Oh, okay.
the ideas. Me and a lady here in the meeting with us today. Her name is Victoria, a friend of mine.
Mhm.
We did a television show called Hidden Realms, and it's not produced or something like that. She goes, I have this idea for a TV show, and that one was kind of like opened me up to writing
Mm.
because I had these ideas open up, and Hidden Realms is about this wonderful, wonderful story about a family during the Civil War. Right at the end of the Civil War, it's this family, and they go through some tragedy, lose their parents, and their mom was supposedly crazy because she was seeing things, but it was just an ability. And it's about a family, this four people that have this trait that gets passed on whenever needed, not like generation to generation. They're called to help when there's a force that's going to come to Earth, and they were called, and they're one of them is the lead role, Sage, is a realm walker. So she can walk between realms, whereas the others have to use rift gates and stuff like that and help protect humanity. So yeah.
Wow.
So
So
that's a funny. So if you and anyone knows a person, we're gonna give them this because we already wrote the whole first season. We wrote eight episodes,
oh, okay.
and
Wow.
it's phenomenal. You got the jinn in there, you got witches, you got Hades. We go down there, we go see the ferryman, we cross the rivers of Styx, we do the whole thing. It is so cool. But it's gonna take HBO money, so
Right. Right.
it'll get
Yeah.
back. But anyways, so that really turned me on to writing. And then I got the angelics idea, which was kind of like a movie at first. And then I said I needed to write the book. So I started writing it, and I put my head down, and I learned one thing. I learned, guys, is how much I didn't understand. I should have paid attention a little more in English because, and, you know, when I ran the angelics through Grammarly. Grammarly is a program that does correction about shit or brick.
The
It was
program
so
should have
much
break or you should have read.
punctuation. It was like oh my God, it was the poor program was so worn out after I got done with it. But it also taught me a little bit more. So whenever it's applicable, just because you didn't learn it before, don't be uh, don't underestimate yourself that you're a god, and you can really learn things very quickly and without the effort that the consorts on the external validation of authorities say it's going to take to learn that. I don't buy it. So that's it.
Yeah, I got a fun story that sort of jump off of that. So
Yeah.
I kind of barely graduated from high school, right? So I had terrible grades. I was not interested in school at all, and mostly failed English class. Was probably most of you who see my post, my terrible grammar and all the stuff. I'm that was never my forte. But so I moved to Japan because I wasn't interested in English at all. I'm like, I don't care about English. It's whatever. Who cares about all those grammar things? And then so then I moved to Japan at the age of 19, and the first thing I find to make money is teaching English, and so I'm teaching English to all these Japanese people, and they don't really care about the grammar and that kind of stuff too
Right.
much. Mostly they're conversational.
Conversation, sure.
So I'm a native English speaker, kind of. You would think otherwise sometimes, but so I'm there teaching English to these Japanese people, and they're asking. Sometimes I do get those grammar questions and these types of things, and I always say, "Oh, let me take that down. Let me take those notes, and then I'll get you an answer next week." And then next week comes around. Hey, that question we asked you last week. Oh, I totally forgot. We'll look. Anyways, I did that. I got by for a couple of years doing that, and ended up teaching English from failing English. So, anyways, now we have. Have you heard of the program Jasper? Are you using Jasper or
No.
ChatGPT? These are AI programs.
No.
ChatGPT to a certain extent, but I just discovered Jasper, which is it's an AI rewriting software that you basically put in your idea, right? And you push the button, and it spits out these beautiful paragraphs or whole pages of your idea, but grammatically correct with all kinds of
Right.
new nuances added in, and you can sort of go in and edit and stuff. We have the technology now to sort of fix our flunking.
Right.
So, but yeah, who needs that stuff?
No, it worked.
Yeah, we can.
What I love about if you take a real good look at humanity and don't bring your opinions into it, you be a unconditional point of view. Humanity creates whatever they want, whatever they're interested, right?
Yep.
Whatever's going to be more effortless for them, it seems. Well, it's not a reliability on technology; it's a use of technology, and wherever it goes is where it's going to go. One of the biggest thing is I don't think human collective is very much interested in driving anymore.
Yeah.
I think that we'll create the technology to where, when we saw it on Minority Report, kind of like that. The people are in their car eating breakfast, doing work, and the car's driving to work. So I think you could, if you look at it, you can see where the collectivists go is a vibrational truth. Otherwise, it couldn't match our frequency and get it. So we're obviously interested in AI, and we're just playing with it. And whatever it's going to do, it's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I'm glad you brought up that idea, because there's a lot of fear around the AI. And I'm sure most of us who are on the call and in these circles are not really feeding that too much. But in this spiritual community, the whole AI thing is very concerning for some. And it sounds like you're sort of not in that camp. You're more welcoming it in, kind of. It'll happen.
I looked at this thing. If it exists, here's my standpoint. Existence is true. Non-existence is not true, because it doesn't exist. So I don't use polarity as in true and false, right and wrong, because then you're going to only look it through those eyes and you'll get only that experience. That in and of itself is not right and wrong because it exists. So since AI exists, someone's interested in it as a creator, attracted it to explore it. How the collective reacts to it, interacts with it, is 100% subjective to each individual. It's their journey. So my choice about it is I'm not real interested in it, but I'm not going to say that's this or that, because then I would be conditioning my experience to an idea of a formality or a standard or something for that to live by to make me comfortable. I don't need to be comfortable because I don't have any uncomfortable in me to be comfortable. I don't need the outside to be better for the inside. I do the inside and the outside match it,
Yeah. Perfect. Beautiful. Yeah. I think that's the same type of view I like to look at. Just to have that worldview, the exact same thing is not invalidating anybody else's experience or no matter what the dangers are. Obviously there's dangers in these things, but if we're sort of going to just like channeling or even the UFO thing, everybody, there were so many, religious groups and things. Oh, that's evil, that's demonic. And now,
Sure.
now you're shutting yourself off to the positive aspects, which we've been exploring in the show and stuff. But then you completely miss you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and you're like, wait, let's not do that. Not cool. So AI, I'm super excited with AI. Even in its early forms now, there are, there's caution. We should be cautionary to certain aspects of it, but I think it's going to naturally work itself out, as everything does, right?
Of course, I'm never going to discount the power of creation and the power of God's to figure it out. Mm-hmm. We may take 100 years to figure it out. We may not do it in a timely manner that other people expect, but we always do it.
Yeah.
How do I know? Because we're all still here.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. What was the doomsdayers back in, just 10, 15 years ago?
How many generations of doomsdayers did we have?
Exactly. Technically we shouldn't be here right now having this conversation, but if you want to factor in all the doomsday scenarios. So I know things are rough and continuing to shift and change, but I'm more optimistic now than ever. Like this time last year when we had this conversation about, changing times and things,
Uh-huh.
um, it was looking pretty, with the economy and
Weak.
yeah, it was looking not so good. And I feel we're in this trajectory now, and we're seeing how the advent of AI is sort of saving our economy in a lot of ways. Because that's, if you go into the stock market, many of the stocks and all this stuff they're not performing very well, but the AI stuff is doing really well, sort of keeping the economy going. And I think with new inventions and with these new energy devices, you were talking about levitating cars. There's a new room temperature superconductor.
Yes.
Yeah, that LP22, I think it's called,
Mhm.
that just is making its rounds. This university out of Korea sort of put it out to the internet, and everybody's now making it. And I think we'll be floating around here pretty quickly in the not too distant future. Within our lifetimes, we'll have floating cars, I'm sure, and adjustments using that technology to tweak and fix certain our current technologies to make them go better, faster, more efficient, all that fun stuff. So, yay, floating cars, yes.
Yay, floating cars.
So, how's the channeling been going in your explorations since the last time we talked? There's
Awesome.
still channeling, still talking
Yeah,
to.
my advanced classes is where Sly comes in, and we bring some other ones in depending on the subject. And yeah, so I channel every week, and then I have a couple of apprentices, and if they come in, so they channel is coming in. So yeah, I still channel. Of course I do. I freaking love it, and it's actually a skill to develop itself. Because there are different frequencies. If you look at if you use Tesla's idea of the universe,
Yeah.
you must think of it in frequencies, tones, and vibrations, right?
Yep.
So if
My
you
favorite
tune to
quote.
different frequencies, you access different worlds because this world is a particular frequency. It's just a radio band. It's a radio station. So in the ability of human, you have a bandwidth that we're all capable of moving in and out of. We're focused on this world, and this is within the world of humanity, and then we focus on this and create this little bubble and this little bubble and all that stuff. But then uh, to develop to go beyond and reach for things that are outside of the frequency of what's normal is very exciting. And yeah, just really, it's you, you can't go somewhere where your mind can't interpret, right? And we're talking the intelligence of attraction. Otherwise, there's no experience. So that's why whatever is within the what they call the resonance, when you resonate your world, you get a reality which is constant, obviously, because you're always real and living a reality, and that's your vibrational match in the moment. And when you go too far, you don't get a reality, but you can't go too far. But you can definitely live on the edge and start to work yourself through that and allow this intelligence to come in and seed itself, cultivate itself just by the mere familiarity with it, the experience of channeling those frequencies that are outside what we would call the normal idea of humanity, and then you just get different worlds, you get different concepts, and they're just fun. They're just fun for no reason. You know,
Well, there's reasons. There's reasons, evolutionary reasons. There's
oh sure, yeah, for
yeah, I
explanation reason, sure.
what I've been going back and listening to. Are you familiar with Andrew Buyark? His channelings of Elon, back in
Oh
the
yeah,
day, or he started with Bashar and went
yeah,
into
yeah,
Elon, and then you've channeled Elon as well.
yeah,
But those original channelings from the early '90s, he's been reposting them now on YouTube. He's got
yeah.
a whole YouTube channel. Anyways, I'm going back. I listened to all of them back in the day, but I'm going back now, and it's having this vantage point, where we are now, and looking back at those things. And again, like we were saying, this information never gets old. There's some new nuggets in it all the time. But what really stuck out for me recently is this idea, the idea from third density to fourth density, and what does that entail as far as the viewpoints of the world. And it's not that third density is wrong. And I think that's where we're, a lot of us we're talking about ascension, and we got to get in the world, and this is the construct of the world. This is it, and we're sort of saying that the old constructs are illusions, and they are. I mean, all of it's an illusion, but the not invalidating those other perception, those other ways, and sort of telling people that that's an illusion, that's false, and again, sort of that invalidation we were just talking about, where the perception of reality of everything being a frequency and a vibration, that concept that's a fourth density concept. You're no longer dealing with linear time. You're looking at just the construct of everything being a vibration and an energy, and then tuning in that way,
being right now,
and getting out of the fixation of the past creates your future, and those are more third density realities, and that's a valid viewpoint of reality. It works for that perception.
It works for the human experience.
Yeah, totally.
And I look at it, if you're waking up, stop using the human experience and start evolving yourself with non-human ideas, and which is already built in, because none of us are human. We create a human experience where we're creators by nature. So we have to use those kind of concepts to evolve ourselves and recognize within us that, well, the habits or the belief systems that keep us human are very valid, very strong, and it's all we knew. So to actually deconstruct your actual personality that you validate every day, you wake up to every day, you algorithm every day, and to recognize those and take those truths of yours that create your attraction, create your world, create your bubble, and your memory in that moment that's created gives you that perfect now. And that's what it is. And then you can wake up to those things and start to move yourself beyond the human experience and still be human right here on Earth. But you're using different eyes, different interpretations, different perspectives.
And we're sort of
very valid.
Yeah. And the way I'm starting to sort of perceive reality, I think we're all going through our own individual transformations, but I saw, right, in collective, obviously, but yeah, individually, we're all on the path. But this idea of channeling, and what it's allowed for me in the beginning stages was like, okay, there's only certain people that can channel, and they're the gifted ones, and yourself included back in the early days, that sort of got into that. And then I'm studying the mechanisms. What is channeling? Channeling is letting go of the ego state. So this information, this universal information, can just sort of come through, right? And your vibratory rate matches the different entities that match best with you, and you can bring those through. And then I'm realizing, I'm like, oh, collective humanity, what fourth density is using that channeling mechanism 24/7. Like, so we're always now vibrating and recognizing that as, okay, instead of, going online and looking up or chat GPT, I need to do this thing. You're just like, okay, well, let me just tune in. And then you just let go of the ego, you ask the question, and bam, there it is. And, and I'm sort of seeing that collective humanity is moving in that direction. Like, that's going to be the new operating system of humanity, is when we're all, in a sense, going to be channeling, not going into a trance, so to say, but
we're not going to be using the human mind, the ment, the belief systems. We're channeling the moment, the eternal intelligence of I am, the collective all that's accessible to us and flows to us naturally.
And that's fourth density.
Sure. And let's go.
Exactly. And so now I'm like using that modality, that technology, or that way of tuning in, and I'm trying to, not trying, I am applying it to everything in my life, every aspect, everything I'm doing, and that's kind of what I'm here with my parents here, is to help see, the reality, the constructs of things that are going on, the sort of some of the holes we've dug ourselves into, and how to in a sense start operating from this new system to then become more efficient, to then become, let go of those pains. Sometimes some of us, and even some of my parents right now, are having some physical issues going on. And I think from this new vantage point, this new view, it seems to be related to sort of holding on to old ways. And so I'm hoping we can sort of help move some of that energy while I'm here. But just
We are.
yeah,
Talking about it makes it so.
exactly. So, yeah,
It's energy being given. The people that are in the class today
Mhm.
are getting it. What they do with it is none of my business or none of your business.
Sure.
Make sure you know that, because
Yeah.
then you would be a preacher.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly.
But,
Yeah, we
but
have to be careful. We don't
are,
want to.
yeah, we're apple orchards. We take our apples and say, here, it's free, take it. And if
Yeah.
they eat it, great. If not, it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of idea. So they're getting it. Yeah, that's what you have to trust in yourself, and not be, and not that you are, but just as an idea, is when we get something new and we want to say, oh my God, this is so great here.
Mm.
And then if it's not, if it's a forced timing instead of a natural timing, then it becomes pushy. And then you'll get that resistance because people, it's like, if a Mormon came to my door, it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
there's nothing there.
Yeah.
You don't want to, you represent, in other words,
Exactly. Yeah.
you represent, and that representation changes. Uh, there's no forced peace. There's no forced teaching. That's going to create resistance.
Yep. Yeah, well, it was Mother Teresa was said, she was asked if she would go protest against the war. And, and she sort of said, no. I think, this is a famous, like, urban legend kind of thing. And she said, no, but if you're going to stand for peace, I'll gladly join any of those types of movements, but I'm not gonna go protest against war, so that, and that
makes sense.
just, that energy, same kind of energy. Let's open up, do you have time to do some channeling a little bit later today? And then
Me?
Yeah.
You got me for as long as you.
Well, before that, why don't we open questions up to Roxanne, and maybe
Are there any questions for Roxanne?
the books, and or anything else out there, just some general, like, channeling questions. There's a lot to get into. Well, raise your hand, and then I kind of wanted to, save some of this for the channeling stuff, but this operating system, how do you see it evolving through your work and through your teachings, just in the past, say, year since we last talked? Is there any new nuggets of, like, oh, this is a new nugget that I didn't get before, or anything like that going on?
When my teaching about being this God, and not being the God that I learned in my memory, being the divinity of the moment through a perception of new self, a new self, one that I don't know. I've never met me. I've only met Roxanne. That's who I know. So when I'm using this new idea about allowance and trust and intuition and choosing those over and over again, the one biggest thing I've found is the absolute bliss of surrender to that new self, and don't fight for the old self it's usually because of fear.
Yep.
It scares the crap out of you because you're actually deconstructing everything you knew as a self. We all get up in the morning and I say, okay, it's me. I'm here. Everything is safe and secure. Let me check my environment. And we check our environment to make sure that everything is safe and secure. And then we start handling our business for today. And that was the algorithm of humanity, the past and the futures and all the things that we did. And then we built that structure and it's us. And that's godly because it's God building itself in a perspective of separation. So it's the power of God. It is God. You just can't throw it away. You just can't make it disappear. You can't wish it away. You can't hope it away. You got to become it and see it and deconstruct it. And the best thing that helped with me is like, I got to give in to me. I got to stop fighting for my own belief system. So that was my big, just one more layer of surrender. And just when you think you can't surrender to something else, you find yourself and you're like, God, where don't I count? Can I have something? And then myself goes, bitch, it is you. And I was like, oh, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. We're constantly shedding the onion layer so it can be the best version of ourselves in the now moment.
And we all have a best version of ourselves. And it's a self, and when we get to it, we won't recognize ourselves. Can you imagine ever, just imagine for a moment, never looking at yourself as something, just being the bliss of the moment, never judging yourself, never opinioning yourself, never complimenting yourself, never having the perspective to see yourself, because now you're whole and you only see yourselves. Think about it. Fantastic baby bonus.
I know. I see it too. And well, when you experience it, and it sounds like you are, that's the beauty. And then you want to share it with the world, like we're doing now. But then you're like, and then you become the evangelic, preacher. No, I'm just
right. Ringing the bell. Look at me.
Yeah. That's what we don't want to do. But yeah, totally. I've had those moments myself, especially of late, and it seems, it's a beautiful thread to follow, and we're doing it. Yeah. So, Catherine, hop in here, guys.
Hello, Roxanne. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So who's with you? Your funny little honey there. Who's that?
My big punk monk.
Kyle?
Kyle and Katie.
Hi, Kyle and Katie. Great to meet you, Glenn. Go ahead, darling.
Yeah, but anyway, I wanted to ask you, because you teach channeling, you teach people how to open up to their own channeling abilities.
Yes, I've done that quite a few times. Sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, not that I want to ask for free advice or whatever. But I've been drawn to channeling. We have dear friends of ours that he's a full embodied trance channel. And so we've actually become really good, close personal friends. So we're constantly around that channeling energy. And one time they came through with certain entities and we're saying that I would channel, which we all channel, right? But
don't discount that. Go ahead and accept that you can be a channel. Don't discount it. Don't diminish yourself. You're too awesome to diminish you.
Oh, thank you. No. Oh, I do want to tap into that. And I bought the book, the Opening to Channel book. I think that's what it's called. It's an old book. And I do meditate and stuff. So, I mean, I'm finding it hard because our girls are younger. And so I guess I'm just looking maybe from your perspective, if there's any practical advice or wisdom that you can shine on that want to do this.
Trust the words that are coming. You have doubt. Remember Abraham, it flows. Humanity is dammed up to flow with all of its opinions. Opinions are duality. Is it real? Is it false? Is it me? Is it someone else? Is it bullshit? And then when you're flowing, you disrupt that frequency through your doubt. So what you have to do is channel your ass off and trust. Trust the intuition. Trust yourself. Now I'm gonna show you how much you doubt yourself, okay? So are you with me? You want to play a game?
Right. Yes.
So I'm going to show you something, and then I'm going to ask you a question real quick, and I want you to trust and just say the first thing. Ready? What card is this?
Like a 7 of hearts or diamonds.
7 of diamonds. Channeling. Okay. Everything else is your bullshit. It ain't their bullshit. It's your excuses. It's you fighting for, I'm not a god.
Whoa. Wow.
That's easy.
That was a good one. Yeah. My mind is
But you got to see that it's only you. Channeling, if it's offered to you, that means it was attracted.
Okay.
You're not special. We're all gods here. We like to
Right,
be
we're all-
special because in humans, if we're not special, we don't count, and that sucks. It really sucks that you don't count, and we try to validate ourselves because we're empty from our own beauty, our own isness, our own wholeness. So we reach out externally to grab these things to fill ourselves, and we want to be special. You're a run-of-the-mill god, get over it. But you're a
I know.
So go ahead and channel. And you're allowed to. Find the way it is. Find it. Get in your position. I started out like this with Osipius. I got that from Bashar to hold the hands like that, close my eyes, allow them to come in. And then I felt them. I was like, ooh. And then, the doubting, but I channeled my little ass off. I got that disease now, no acetol. I got none left, but it worked.
Wow. That's
And
amazing.
trust and let it come. Even if, watch this, even if it's in your memory that you already know it, don't judge yourself because you're saying stuff you already know. That's an actual tool so you can build confidence. Even though you know it in the memory, you are building it so you trust yourself. And just because it's in your memory doesn't invalidate it because you don't know who's receiving it and if they've ever heard it before. That's your shit in your head.
That's where I get tripped up is because
Of course it is. Because now I recognize your big fat belief. That's my belief. I'm going to own it because I created it because I forgot everything. So that's my duality. It's what I want to do about it. I'm going to get mad at it. Or do I want to ascend it? Do I want to transcend? That's the recognition. And then you got to do the work. Makes sense?
It does. Thank you. I feel like I'm not able to dedicate all my bandwidth because we just, we have jobs.
Relax. You don't need to dedicate anything. Just be in the moment and let the moment flow. 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, doesn't matter. Don't make excuses. Don't fight for your own limitation. Trust and allow it to evolve. You got plenty of time. I woke up when I was, became Roxanne and when I was 43, I think. And I woke up in 2013 and I'm 56 now and there's plenty of time. Relax. It's beautiful. I'm so freaking young now. I got so much to do. I'm so excited, right?
I love that. Thank you so much.
You're
It's
welcome.
like, this is my highest passion right now to sit and talk with you, with this community, my husband. So this is a beautiful moment. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys. All right. Good stuff. Paul, come on in.
Yeah. Hey, Roxy. You and I,
Uh-huh.
hi. You and I had conversations before, so it's good to see you again.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to point out all of our talks previously. You've always been very insightful. So I appreciate that. Could you shed any light on co-creation and specifically? I'm not sure if you know. Yeah, we've talked here before about wave functions kind of collapsing to probabilities collapsing to what we observe as reality, even though it's kind of an illusion. My question has to do with why is there persistence of our observation? It's highly persistent, from our observation. So if it is, let's say a probabilistic wave function collapsing, why, or maybe, what is the mechanism behind, that, does that make sense what I'm asking?
Kind of. Say it again.
Yeah. So I guess if we're co-creating, then it's
First off, never think that you're not co-creating.
okay.
It's impossible to be alone because you are one and all in the constant of now. So you're always co-creating with the validity of an experience. My reality bubble, my microphone, my cup, my chair, I'm co-creating right now. These are all frequencies of light that are all experiencing. Every single point of view is exactly that. It's an experience from every single point of view. So the chair is having an experience and knows itself when I sit on it. The TV knows itself when it turns on. Electricity knows itself when it's flying down the wires. A leaf knows itself because it's getting sun. The sun knows itself because it beams its heat and it's reflected. So all of creation is knowing itself in your bubble. So it's always co-creation. So let's look at it like that so we don't have to try to narrow it down outside. So then I'm interested in the persistence of what? What is particular about that?
Yeah. So when we wake up, we have memories, of things that we've been before on a linear timeline, or we should serve as a linear timeline.
Right.
And most of us don't see into the future. I mean, some of us do apparently. There's a persistence and a consistency of what we observe as reality, of course. We've had actually some discussions in the group about other beings that don't have that persistence. I guess in other dimensions, other realms, perhaps, and maybe it's speculative, but there's the notion of some beings that, things are constantly changing and they don't have a persistent reality. So there's something unique about us, apparently, in that regard.
So are you talking about constant reality?
Yeah.
That's continuing in time?
Right.
Yeah. Remember what does it take? What does it take? What are the ingredients or the structures that we have to experience or we must have built in in order to experience time? Well, the first thing is we need a memory. Because if we don't have a memory, we can't have time. Because there's no yesterday and there certainly is no tomorrow, because tomorrow comes from the probability of yesterday. Because we can have the past, and since we're dualistic in the idea of polarity, we can have a future. We have now and we have not now. So we get to access the experience of time passing because I'm 56 years old. I know that because my memory tells me I was born in 1966. So I have experience and I also have validity of those memories of me growing up in a timeline. So we have that not in uniqueness as in opposition to other species, because there's many space-time continuums. What's unique about ours is we don't know that we're gods. Arcturians experience time, but their time is much different than ours, and their fourth density usually. But their time is much different than ours. But nonetheless, they have time, and they have different aspects to create an individual experience. The scariest thing to understand about creation, I think, is there's no standards. That's the scariest things. There's the laws that I absolutely know, and they're debatable for anyone who wants to debate them, but they don't rule, they don't confine, they don't oppress. They're not human laws. They're here's how it works, go at it. And so we can do whatever, and everything is open to us. And one of the experiences is to experience time. And our particular uniqueness is we don't know that we're God. So we have lifetimes, and we tap into previous lives and future lives that are all occurrences of our now that we're experiencing. And I think that there are many species. I remember when I talked to Ramtha, which I'm not allowed to channel Ramtha because he's got an exclusive, or Jay-Z Knight has an exclusive in a patent or trademark on the name Ramtha. So I just talked to him personally, and he had told me at one time before if we're going to put it in time so we can have a framework here, before we were understood memory, because we're evolving, guys. We didn't know all this at the same time. We only knew it in our nows, individual nows. We were fleeting. means it was just going straight. We're just in our focus, and there was no yesterday. There was no a minute ago. There was no nothing. It was all gone. It was just now. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that we have time. I think time for us is an ally because we can change our minds about something and create new timelines. But let's look at the aspect of leaving late and arriving early. I'm here. I don't even remember the journey. Well, because what you did is you go from here, and one nanosecond later, you're at home, but your memory says 30 minutes have passed. But you just created a new now. See, that's the thing about this idea about time. It's not standard. It's subjective to each individual. So there are people that are always on different timelines. And your world, when you start, which is really fun, when you start shifting yourself into different frequencies of fourth density, all of a sudden you're realizing you're on a different timeline because of the names of stores, the locations of things, and the people that you meet. You're like, oh my God, I never met this person before, and they're speaking to me like I know them like this. And you're like kind of nodding your head. And then maybe if it fits the moment, you'll get the memory back of, oh, I did meet them. Because the memory is created in the moment too. The memory is not a stagnant thing. The memory matches the moment. The moment is always perfect. The moment is always this encompassing bubble of now of perfection. And the next one has nothing to do with the one that just passed. It has everything to do with what you're vibrating right now. But we use our memory as our constant, so we have this constant life. Misery loves company, or these person's always lucky, that kind of idea. You know? Oh, there you go, Reuben. Thank you. Yeah, the 5 laws. Yeah, there's a link right there, Lisa. But let me just tell you before we get to the next question. 1, you exist. Never discount. Without you here, I'm not here. I can't be here because you are one and all. Your existence is. Without it, we're all of us are in non-existence, and none of us are realizing anything because we don't exist. So booyah on you. Thanks for coming and bringing me to the show. Thanks, Lisa. True. Everything is here and now. My God, that was the greatest thing. When you learn that, you're going to free yourself from the bindings of time, or you're going to at least recognize them and have some savvy, if you would, to be able to deconstruct those tendrils that keep you in time. And where do we get most of our fears? Time. Because fears are based on our past and what someone gave us, and we validated that, which create our behaviors now, which creates our realities now about a future of potential that we don't want to engage in. So we change our behavior based off of fears. And we never see our potential of ourselves because we're always vibrating, I'm afraid. So understand that everything is here and now. And when you start living in the now and learning to live right now, not 1 second from now, not 10 minutes from now, not yesterday, not 10 minutes ago, now, that's a skill that has to be learned. When you start living that, and then you open yourself up to natural attraction, the flow, easy button, effortless. 3, what you put out is what you get back. Now, that's the mirror idea. What you put out is what you get back. What you put out is what you get back. But do not look at what you put out and what you get back from a perspective of separation. Don't be dualistic about it. Don't be unpositive. Why am I not getting positive? You're not positive and you're not negative. That's your opinion. What you are is vibrating a truth. And that's what you need to change in order to change your reality. To get back from the not God self, the unworthy self, to I am God, I am worthy because I am. And then that's the experience that we gave ourselves. What greater gift to come down here, all of us masters, joining in the reindeer games and going, my God, we're not gods. And then having the ability and the potential to say, oh my God, I'm God. Wow. That doesn't suck. That's awesome. Although the journey might suck for a while, but you work through that, you know? So that's that law. The all are one and the one are all. So I'm here. I'm God. I'm the one, the only God. And there's no one else. All of this reflection is me from a different perspective. but I have my own individual truth. My truth will never be shared. My blue is my blue, and it's not your blue, because I'll never be able to see your truth, your point of view. So the one are all and the all are one. So how do I live? I live because I love me, and me shows up to give me what I am. That's my bubble. So I get to experience myself, one and all, forever. Because of course it's now, and now that doesn't expire, because it's now, right? And the last one is change is the only constant except for the first four laws. And that's it. So anyways, look that up here. I have a video on my channel about it too, that I said, let's talk about the laws or some of the 5 laws. So that's on my channel as well. And the one that Bashar put out is as exceptional as well. So look at those things. Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just going to chime in on back into that. Yeah, the 5 laws for me have been, I always go back and reference them too. Just whenever I'm in a pickle or my mind wants to go some weird direction, just remember those laws, and it always is a nice reset. But one thing I've been sort of meditating on of late about this idea that we're all gods, and I agree 100%, and especially the way you just described it now with all the in the law context. But I feel sometimes when because I can sense when it's said in certain ways, and just depending on an individual's perception or idea of the words, they sometimes, well, not sometimes, oftentimes it can get confused or misunderstood, because they're still coming from this idea, and you just said it now, but this idea of separation.
Yes.
And so when you say I'm a god, all of a sudden
Right. It's obtuse to some people.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, what? You can't say that, or or even
remember, wait a minute, remember, if they're in your world and they're hearing you, they matched you. So they're ready to hear that. Whether they agree with is irrelevant. That's their awakening, not yours. You represent the truth. When they get around to being curious, then they'll open up and listen, and then you can give them the full Monty.
Right. And
but it is a seeding. If they're in my reality and they hear my words, they matched it. If they don't agree with it, if they're having a problem with it, have a Coke and a smile and go that way. All you have to do is turn around, and you've destroyed me. I'm gone.
Yeah. And well, for me, to help explain it, I guess, in my mind, I was contemplating, I'm like, well, how can I explain it better? And you just said it, this relationship that all of it is God, and that we as individuals, I guess not just the God, I create my own reality. Okay. So that, even that context, in Bashar and everybody says that you create your own reality.
Yeah.
But I feel that it requires a little more, explanation or tweaking in the definition.
Yeah, it does.
Because,
but it's never going to be encompassed in a sentence.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not. You're not going to have that kind of a nugget that's going to peel away these thousands of layers to let them penetrate, to see that their every choice, every behavior, every vibrational expression attracts their next reality of the now. And then the way they interpret that now reality is their experience. And that's happening to all of us individually all the time. And but you got to trust that when they're ready, they'll find it. Mm-hmm. They'll crack it open and get it. And you'll give them the words that they're looking for in the moment. It may start out, I don't understand what that means. Right. It's like, I don't create my own. I didn't choose this shit. Bullshit. How many times have you heard that?
Oh yeah, every day.
And that's just the reaction. It says, look, it's not based upon the idea of this mind. It's based upon the idea of this heart and what you're vibrating as a truth. And you must understand the experience. So if you have some time to sit down and listen, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
When you're opening doors, they have to choose to walk in. Don't be the person that says, I got to rescue them. Because you're not. Because A, they're not in pair. Why? Because the eternal God's having a separated experience happening in their own fucking head, and it ain't your business. Let them have it. But you are a light in their reality that allows change, because you're vibrating a frequency that is penetrating this idea and they're like, okay, I don't understand what the hell that is, but I got to know. I got to find that out. So they say, hey, what do you got? What do you got, Reuben? What do you got for me?
Well, yeah. And what for me, just meditating on this, I feel the integrity part, the integration part is is the key component. I mean, this is, for me in the now moment of this type of idea, but we are gods we are gods of integrity. I don't know. I'm still finding the words, but the integration, because we can only change us, right? We can't change everything around us, but we can integrate everything around us and understand that in an integral way. And then that's the influence that we create as gods, as our own gods.
Right, because you're expressing that new understanding of reality.
Yeah. And that's what creates these godlike experiences where we're creating our reality, is because we're integrating everything within us. So
remember, there's no godlike reality if you're being a not God self. First thing is to recognize you're not God selves, so you can allow those different frequencies in. Make sense?
Yeah. Validating
your beliefs that are conditioned.
Right.
Those
not
kind
invalidation of anything, like you were talking about the evil before, like all of that stuff. Yeah.
Right. If there's something in my reality that I have a resistance for, that's giving me an emotional reaction, it's me. It ain't that. That's an unconditional expression. But if I want to bitch about that and get mad at it and have a external reality about it, an externalism of targeting about it and whatever, blah, 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 then I'm just creating my now. That doesn't fix it. I'm creating my world. Don't forget about world.
Yes. That just proves that what the God is, you're such a God, you're creating the resistance and the limitation.
Look at you. You are doing it to yourself.
Exactly.
Gotta have that. It's happening in your head.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. Well, let's Laura, hop in there.
Okay. Hi, Roxanne. First time. I just appreciate and love you so much. Your energy and your perspective and your everything. So thank you for that. I got all worked up and nervous from the time I first raised my hand to now, because a lot of the conversation has been sort of answering.
Yes.
Right. But I'm all tangled up about it still.
Okay. That's good. Well, first thing, say, let's be tangled up. It's okay. So now let's work it out, me and you together.
Well, thank you. My initial, just nutshell question was, do you have any advice on how to hold your own when it's hard for me to ask a question because all these answers are coming out.
Yes.
Or in the conversation itself. How do you have any recommendations on how to hold your own? And in holding my own, I mean, traditionally I have been of appreciation, of joy. I found the Seth material when I was 18. I'm 62 now, so I've always had the understanding of the nature of reality, as explained in the Seth material and other books. Currently, I'm in a place of often great limbo, a lot of anger. So I'm trying to nutshell it, but I'm not very good at that.
Relax.
And how do you have any advice for holding your own in the face of, a husband who I love dearly, but is based up here largely in lack, in fear. In my own judgments. Okay. I have an addict daughter. I'm raising her daughter. Lately, I've been very.
Is that the one with the feet behind you?
Yep. Lately, I've been.
I was just going to say, that looks like your feet. It looks like you're doing some kind of crazy yoga.
I am 62, a slow limber. So lately I'm having resentment and judgment with my addict daughter, where initially I was all, for the most part in my heart, well, it's her path and all of this stuff. And now I'm
that doesn't negate the way you feel, does it?
No, not point. It's there. And I feel okay.
All right, stop. You don't pile it on. Stop.
Thanks.
Okay. You got to realize that you have truths inside of you. Those truths come from your experience as a human. When you popped down here, again, you weren't empty. You were a sponge. You coveted your mom, your dad, your schools. You're 62 years old. Your generation, along with you're right at the edge of the baby boomers, I suppose. But your generation, right? Very close to my generation. We're not that far apart. We had a lot more structures. We had a lot more, the teachers were different. The schooling was different. All of these things and what you see day to day here. So those are still your truths. You've been carrying them, but you're not actually carrying them. You are them because that's all you know. So you have to recognize in yourself your truths. So when you're reacting to the husband because he has this kind of mind, you've got to see it within yourself. I'm interpreting my husband. He's on his journey. Like you said, he's like my addict daughter because on her journey in my heart, they're on their journeys. But that doesn't make it go away. What makes it go away is you have to surrender to that and say, that's my bullshit. I can't have them perform like puppets. I am not a tyrant. I get angry and I get upset because I'm in God experiencing anger and suffering and sorrow and need and want and desire because I can't go anywhere else in all the universe unless I go to humans where I'm separated and I don't know I'm God. All I know is I'm unworthy. And reinforced by humanity that says you are unworthy and you need to earn my respect. You need to earn your way. You need to. And then we structure ourselves and bring ourselves up to this and we maintain and then we rot inside and we get all these wonderful diseases and it's a human experience. Okay? But never forget you're a God, so but now that you're awakening to that, how do you handle your daughter? The guilt of that, the idea of she's an addict and this is mine. And I says, well, you relax first, and then you start doing the work to tear down those walls of Jericho you built up to say, I have to react like this. I have to be that. And there is no words that I'm going to give you right now that will do that. An immediacy of a pill. It's no blue pill, no red pill, no golden nugget. It's work. It's enlightenment. It's ascension. It's a master class. So you have to see in yourself, Lord, I got my belief. My husband is up here in his head. He's got all these fears, but I don't have to act like that. What happens if I lose him? What happens if he dies? And then all of a sudden you have to behave because you are fearing your future based off of your memories, creating your reality now. And all he is a speck of light reflecting a truth that you're saying yes to. But it's your truth, which creates your reality. In your experience. So you're going to have to say, you know what? I think I'm worth it right now. Let me go ahead and make a few changes in my reality, like myself. I have to accept these are my beliefs, but I don't have to act that way anymore. I don't need to behave that way. And I'm allowed to say what I want to say, and let's see what's going to happen. Because I've got to take care of me. Otherwise, I'm living the life I had, and it won't change until I change it. So no matter how much you try to change the outside, it doesn't work until you change the inside. And it's the same with the relationship. You're having a relationship. If you read Seth and you understand the relationship, everything, he said it, everything is a relationship to reality. It's how you relate to that truth, that idea, target focus. And that is your interpretation. That's your experience. They're having their subjective view and their experience. You can never share that. So you have to start understanding, we all came here to experience this entire idea of dualistic polarity, suffering and joy reality. Awesome. I'm not happy about it. And I've said that a lot. And it's like, man, what the hell did I do to myself? Oh, shit. I have to feel this pain. That's not right. Ouch. Stop it. And you get mad and you get angry. But you work it out and you realize, oh my God, it's me. It's not them, it's me. So I've got to take these down. I have to surrender. I have to transcend these truths. That's my schools. I wrote 4 schools. It's my mystery school ascensions, whatever you want to call them. Recognition, transcendence, vibrational tactician, and persona development. Bringing back the God. And I have a curriculum, and that's 10 years, going on 11 years worth of tearing myself apart to find the God within and let that crazy bitch out. and be okay with what it is. I want to know who I am because I know I'm not the human, but I feel like the human, and my memory validates the human and it validates his behaviors. And guess what? I get those realities. So you have to do the change. And it's brutal. It's not comfortable because you have to live on the edge of unknown. You have to take down these things that says, wait a minute, this is how I'm supposed to behave. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm sorry. I have to be responsible. This is my duty. I'm a mother. I have to. That's my fun. And like, wait a minute, wait. Where am I in this? If I'm one and all, then I'm going to find out. Make sense? Okay.
Yes, thanks.
So recognize, surrender, accept. It's like, God damn, that's my anger. That's my hate. That's my frustration. I'm putting myself in obligation because they're not depending on me. They're God's. But if I say they are depending and I'm obligated to fulfill that, then I'm creating my world. I create my reality. Picking up when I'm laying down?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Laura. One more time, Roxanne. The recognition, transcendence. What were the other two?
Recognition, transcendence, vibrational tactician.
Vibration. What is that? Can you explain that?
That vibrational tactician is exactly what Catherine did up there. She trusted the vibration of the input. As soon as I start talking to her, she was saying it automatically. I just got my cards and I saw the card that I was going to pick and I was transmitting 7 of diamonds to her. So she picked up on that idea of that truth. She accepted. She became a vibrational tactician to discern the frequencies of her memory. 6 of diamonds, maybe Jack of hearts, Ace of spades. And she just said all of those she didn't validate. She negated, but she grabbed the slipstream and said 7 of hearts, 7 of diamonds, which is close now. It might be a little bit of frequency.
And then there was one more after that?
That's persona development.
Persona development. Okay.
That's the scariest thing. Because once you start taking down all of your beliefs and allowing yourself to express yourself in the nature of the now without any predicated or preordained behavioral aspects through your history, through your memory and the way you're supposed to behave, oh, that's just the way I am. You take that down and then you're just left with this rawness, this raw, unmolded, unformed self. And then you step into it and you start finding the resonations that remember the nature of you, the nature of you. Everyone is an individual signature, an individual way about them. So you start to take that chance and behave not as your memory or the people see you, but as you are in the moment. Make sense? Because we structure ourselves a lot on time because we act this way. So we're that personality. Oh, he's just like that. That's how we are. Or they're just like that. Oh, I'm always like this. Well, we validate that and we create that. But how about we tear it all down and see what we really are by nature? We might be soft. We might be quiet or cagey. Or we might be fine, screaming demons, living on the edge. But you got to find that and not use the outside to form a structure that you must follow and fulfill, because then you're just creating another version of yourself through the structure of separation.
Right.
Right?
That's,
yeah.
I think that's where I was struggling too, is I feel like I'm getting distracted by the outside.
Yes. So now you're recognizing how but remember, they're just dogs in the yard running around. Sit on the porch, take your iced tea and watch them. It's like, oh, those are thoughts. They're my thoughts. And they're valid and they hurt because when you don't pay attention, you might get fear. But wait a minute, I'm okay right now. Remember what I said? Everything is here and now. Is any of that happening now? No? Okay, then I'm fine. Let me take a moment to think about this. Let me let it out. And when you start getting on an emotional rant, pull yourself back to the now. Recognize. Takes a few thousand times, but you do get it.
For me, it's for when, example, my husband is in his head and wants to talk about lack and talk about
Well, then what do you do?
And I don't want to.
I don't want to. There it is. Behavior, I don't want to because that's you structuring yourself, because what you want to do, you need to do. Whatever it is, you got to test the waters. If you don't, you remain the same. He's not going to change. He needs representation of change. And that's authenticity. That's the heart. That's the I am. That one doesn't care. We're so hell-bent on caring for each other when we're all the same eternal being. No one dies. Everyone just keeps moving to the next room. Thanks, Tom. I think we have Michelle. Reuben?
Yes. Yeah. Come on in, Michelle. Let me do this for you. There we go.
Hi.
It was so good to see you. Thank you for being here today. And Catherine answered, or her question answered some questions that I had, but then we started talking about time. And I can always have questions about time. And one of them that I've had recently, or for a long time now, but what is the perspective of souls that choose to incarnate without the veil? What is their perspective of their life and like cause and effect? And
They don't have it. Because if they don't have the veil, they only have the unconditional.
so they are living a life where they're born and they stop.
If they choose to do that,
If
then
they choose to do that, and then what do
but they won't do
their
the-
choices that they
What?
make? How do
What?
they perceive their choices?
They don't perceive choices. They are themselves in the moment. We have choice because we have time. If they're using time, then they can have choices, but the choices aren't good, better, best. The choices are whatever vibrates in the potential of them right now. They're all unconditional choices because they don't have a veil of condition.
So so when they're always in the now and they don't perceive
Which we are.
what's happening all at the same time. So they made a choice to do this and
You're mixing a whole bunch of worlds. Slow down.
okay.
Your
Okay.
mind is trying to figure this out, and your mind is a child. Get over that. Get over that. It's a human mind, and how old are you?
40.
Okay, so take away 10 years. So we have 30 years of memories, and you're trying to figure out creation stuff. You got to trust the internal for a second. Slow down and stop trying to logic this. That's what you need to relax, okay? So first off, you're never going to see their perspective if you're using the human perspective. But you can ask about it, but don't try to make it fit into your perspective, and then you need a bus to get back to fuck, because that's not going to happen. You can't take an unconditional perspective and make it fit a conditioned perspective. So what you must understand is that individual that is not veiled, like a Yael that came down, they look like, but they're still a Yael, but they look 100% human. And they're walking around and they're having their own individual experience. And whatever their choices are is their intuitive self, kind of like Catherine did Seven of Diamonds, Seven of Hearts. She said it right there. That was her choice. So it is like that. But from the perspective of the mind, we're always looking from the best choice, because we were taught to make the best choice. Because why? Because there's always a better life. And if we don't choose the best, then we have to face consequences. And we make mistakes. So we're always debating our choices. An unconditional God that has no value, zero value in any kind of polarity. Where's the wrong choice in that word? Every choice is always perfect. Every choice is always what it is, because they're not going to miss anything. There's no better choice because there's no worse choice. There's always the choice of what it is. And do they have choices? Absolutely. But I've never been there and I don't know personally, but that's what Slide tells me. He goes, yeah, I have choices. I have choices here and there. And I focus on this reality. I get that. Doesn't mean I miss this one. This didn't go away. This is here in the now. And when I get around to it, I'll get around to it. Does that make sense?
I guess
No.
and what makes sense is that to stop trying to fit those laws into my understanding.
Yeah.
To me, I do still like, because they have choices, they make choices, but I still get stuck into like how they perceive a choice has a change. They could go this direction or that direction.
Because you're looking, you're looking through a better choice idea. You're looking at it through a dualistic mind.
I guess not, and I'm not putting a value on the choice. Just I'm trying to understand the progression of time. Like, so if everything's happening all right now,
See, no. See, we think everything is all happening right now, and you get to see it all. You're not seeing it all. You're seeing what's in your now. All now is happening right now. All of creation is happening, but all of your worlds that you create are not all going on right now. The only world you have right now is the one you're in.
okay, say that part one more time. So everything's happening in the now, but what is the
difference is, look, if I have 50,000 lifetimes, I don't know I have 50,000 lifetimes, do I? I only have the lifetime that I am right now. And part of my experience in this lifetime is to have the concept that I have 50,000 lifetimes going on. But those not me. This is me. So this is where I am right now. So that whole everything is happening sequentialtaneously, which it is. It's all happening now in the order you choose. Is happening individually, not collectively. It's happening in your world all right now.
What do you mean it's happening individually, not collectively?
She's having, he's having, they're having their nows individually. Each world is an individual moment unto that world.
Yeah. And like all of their, like when they had their soul incarnated into Lyra, to today, right now, talking to you, to the future, like all of those soul experiences, each individual soul, well, one soul, but when they incarnate individual, all of those experiences are happening at the same time, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But they're only happening in your mind, the way you perceive it in your world right now. Stop making it everyone else. You're the only God here, and we're just little specks of light giving you a reality. Kind of spooky, isn't it?
So I think I have to like kind of sit on where I am with it.
Very good.
Well, I have the veil, but other
No, hang on, wait, stop, slow down. You're God. You got to look at that personality. You're so. I got to know it now. Stop. You're okay. You have time. Hang on. Okay. Hey, this is Sly. How are you? Okay. So, without you thinking too much, which is causing your confusion, which is actually part of your personality. So if you go back into your memory, you're going to see you like the confusion because it gives you a validation of always trying to figure it out, and you've been doing this for how long? Stop. So now, what are you trying to ask it? What do you want to know about another person that you're not?
I want to try to get in that perspective of
how can you get into perspective if your perspective is separated? No matter what I say, no matter what Roxanne says, no matter what anyone says, it's still going to be interpreted by you. When are you going to own your world that it's only you and it's only ever been you? You created me. I'm in your bubble right now because you just attracted me to give you this word, which is not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It's not valid or invalid. It's experiential. Welcome to forever. This is all we are. We try to make it down here as human, and even my fractals, when they were down here on the planet, they were trying to make it more than what it is because we have a value of separation that depletes, and then we need to fulfill with the idea of this object of greater than. How can you be greater than all that is? Embrace the world that you are, and then recognize your own lack that says, I need more, and that's the idea of recognition of your own emptiness that you need to fulfill with some idea of some information that's going to say, hey, guess what? I got the perfect answer. That's never going to solve because all the answers that you've ever had lead to more questions. So let's look at this. Let's look at this, Michelle. Okay. That perspective on how that's going to be is within you, 100%. But you've got to lose the eyes of separation. You've got to deconstruct that point of view so you can actually have a perception of what it is to be unconditional. Unconditional is mass murder. Unconditional is abortion. Unconditional is rape. Unconditional is murder. Unconditional is a nun blessing an entire crew of people. Unconditional is a football player saying thanks to God and fuck all the other people that are dying, but God made flag. Unconditional is to allow yourself to smell a baby and melt in your heart. Unconditional is everything that's happening. And whatever you slant in your way, in your mind, becomes your reality only. You want to give it to everyone else, that's your arrogance. That's your freaking arrogance to say everyone else is feeling what I'm feeling, and it's got to be a standard. But that's what you need to recognize. That's the whole game in and of itself. That's why we have politics. That's why we have opposing sides. That's why we have yin and yang. You guys trying to explain the reasonality of humanity, and it's all happening truly for no reason, because all we are is life. The way you feel about it is your absolute bliss. Although the human doesn't experience, because you've been programmed to feel pain. Can you imagine if any of you never felt pain before? How can you experience it? That's what the unconditional is experienced. So until you can see the unconditional from the unconditional, you're not going to understand fully what choices, how do they make those choices? How do you make your choices? That's what you need to look at. Where is your behavior? Where is your reactions? Where is your moments of, this is my truth, but I can't do that because, and then that's your still your truth. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I am following, like, this is my truth and my joy is like, I absolutely love thinking about this. And it does fill my soul. Like this excites
How
me.
can your soul be empty?
Well, it does excite. It sparks.
It fills the idea of your emptiness returning yourself. You're starting to feel the passion, but if you feel it emotionally, then you will be limited to that emotion. Please understand that. You can only be so happy and you can only be so sad because you have your own truths on how far the measuring of polarity can exist within you, because that's what your truth is that you coveted and made a standard. So that's why you have your own. You've done it. You've done it before. You're standing there watching someone and they're freaking out about something. You're like, what's the big deal? Because you don't have the same value in that external idea that you're both are targeting. You don't feel the same way about it because they have a different truth than you. So you must understand that your truth is within your limits. So that fulfillment of emotion is going to be a limitation. You want to understand what's beyond limitation, you have to become unlimited, unconditional. So take down your limitations. And by the way, negative and positive are both limitations because they lie in the frequency of polarity and they all have limits. So just because you're going to feel good doesn't mean that's the best you can feel. You can feel beyond polarity, and that's divinity, of course. But we can't give you perspective that's going to fit. We can only give you ideas, and then they're still going to be interpreted through the current self that you are. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Thank you, Sly, for coming in.
Always. What's up, Reuben?
Hey, Sly, how's it going?
I'm awesome. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
She did pretty good. She's fucking dealing it out, isn't she?
Roxanne is integrating quite well.
Got it.
I had a question, and this may be better suited for Siphius, but we'll throw it out there. One, how's the coffee?
We got this.
You still doing coffee?
No tea. Roxy's.
Tea, no. Roxy's done tea. Okay, because I know Sly likes the coffee.
I fucking love coffee, so I go to others and get my coffee. Roxy stopped drinking because the caffeine was driving her a little nuts.
Okay, all right. Well, you could come hang out with me and my coffee sometimes. So I had a question about, and anybody else in the chat here, go ahead and raise your hands. We'll just continue on this thread. I've been meditating a lot about emotion and the language of emotion, being more, is more, I guess, more of a math guy than an emotion guy. I don't know if that's even a thing, but that's where I put
It's
my
a
focus.
thing with you.
Yeah, that's where I put my focus. But now I'm realizing the beauty and the power of this language of emotion, and behind the veil, how it's not, math seems to be more in line with time constructs and these types of things, where the
It's
emotion,
frequency interpretation that you can translate into mathematics to make an equation of explanation.
yeah, where emotion sort of bypasses a lot of that. It feels like,
100%.
yeah. So it
Because
seems
it's a different reality.
it's a different
Who
reality.
creates emotions? A creator. So it's created through the will of each individual. So emotions are as powerful as any other thing in creation because it's all the same will, the will of the individual. So emotions are very powerful.
And I guess in this fourth density reality, are we going to put a little less weight in the math and a little more weight into the emotion? Is that kind of where
Emotions, human limitation emotions are going to be depleted completely. You're going to return to what we call motion, a unconditional self experiencing that frequency of interpretation, which of course we still feel. I feel all the time, but I'm not limited to emotions, and I sure as hell don't have any negative emotions, and I don't have the limitation of positivity. I have bliss or my divinity. So everything I see is always on, but it's on in 1,000 different shades of being on. You know, every reality has its own thing. Does that make sense? So
yeah,
in
we'll
the
have to
world of,
meditate on that a little bit, but yeah.
just focus and allow it to come in. When you have the idea of the frequency of no emotion, it's very difficult to think that way because you're using a mind that only uses emotion to understand its behaviors and its truth and its interpretations, right? You interpret through emotions, good, bad, and everything in between. And when you don't use that, you don't quite understand it. So
Right.
don't use the thinking mind and allow it to come in. So how about if I'm in the now, like let's say something that's very passionate for you when you're doing some of your work back at your
Fulfillment.
house and in your gardening and was it hydroponics?
Yeah, my hydroponics and yeah.
And when you're doing that, you're caught up in the moment and you're not emotional, you're focused, you're
Right.
alive, you just
Yeah.
go. And then you have time to come back and think about it, and then you become more emotional. So there's no thinking about it, there just is it.
Yeah.
So you will experience more of that constant passion in the fourth density.
Right. And sort of allowing that to come through more, be more of our guiding force in our operating system.
Your intuition self, your natural attraction self, because you're always going to attract yourself, what matches you. How you interpret it is always going to be your experience. But if you're interpreting it through polarity, guess what? You get a polarized world. Ta-da! Not real difficult. Take those down, you're going to get an unconditional world that's only unique to you, and you're going to feel divine about it is the best way. But again, there's 1,000 shades of divine.
Sure.
It's just one idea. You're going to see it in so many different ways. It's so fantastic, Roxanne. Whenever she feels it, she goes, "Oh my God, look at go."
Yeah. It is a beautiful way to view reality because it's the emotion, I don't know, the polarized versions of emotions tend to fall to the wayside, and then you're just walking.
They will. When the ascension occurs, there's no more polarity. There's a wholeness as a collective, and this new wholeness, like the Arcturians, like the Zetas, like the Drox, or like the Pleiadians. They're all their own. We're a Pleiadian. We're not polarized. We're a Pleiadian. In an idea, we know we're gods, but we don't go around going, "I'm a god." I don't go around, "Good God, I'm a god," because I don't look at myself as that, because I'm not separated. I don't have another self that looks back at itself and then judges itself. So I only have I am, and I create whatever incarnation I'm in, whatever it is, whatever focus. So when you guys become Homo Galacticus in their fourth density, you'll be Homo Galacticus whole, but collectively experiencing and creating a collective of experience, and do whatever you do, guys, with the species, just like you did here. just like what the whales do and the octopus and the bees. All these collectives are doing their own little deal. They're
And
part of your world as experience, nothing more. What's that?
And recognizing the God in everything else. And
Well, yeah.
having-
Once you get out of it, there's no not recognizing the God, but there's also no attention to it because you already know it. It's what you've been the whole time.
Yeah. We just been blinders on. So,
Let me answer Laura's question.
Yeah.
But if we should keep our vibration as high as possible, like Abraham says, what's up with all the emotion, pain, like being so prominent? See, you can't get rid of it. Let's look at evolution. You had that idea was a step. So now let go of that step, and now we're going to evolve. Me and you, Laura, we're going to grab another rung. We're going to let the rung go, and we're going to climb to the next thing on the ladder. So stick with me, hon. So the idea about positive and negative is recognition. How would you like to not have positive or negative and only have divine? So all of those negative emotions and all of those positive emotions are part of your human experience that you chose because you can't get it anywhere else. You decided to be a master, come down here and ascend the species through total separation, and only can you ascend the species is loving yourself, period. That's it. Can't happen outside, has to happen inside. So that representation now is you to recognize in yourself this pain, this suffering, these things are very prominent because you're recognizing the strength, the will of God that you created as a God to come here separated. So now as a God awake to itself that is a fractal, you have two gods ready to become one God. So you, only you, have to take down the not God self and allow the emergence of the God. That's there every freaking day when you get up. You just have these clues. So anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that beautiful stuff. Let's go ahead and hop in with some other questions. This is definitely going to be one that I come back to and watch many times.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, Steven, go ahead. Yeah, unmute yourself.
Thanks. So let's see if I can phrase it right. And it's okay if you kind of want to skip over the subject. It's been something that's prominent for me. And I've been thinking about the relationship between the interior and the exterior and the dominance of the interior over the exterior. And the prominent exterior force that I've been thinking about a lot that's been dominating a lot of my mental space is 5G. And
5G technology?
Yeah.
So it's an
And
appetite
so-
for you.
Sorry, come again?
It's an appetite, so you're focusing on it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's creating your reality. Let's be okay with that first. Let's see what you doing to yourself first.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Absolutely. So I guess I'm curious for your interpretation of the potency of it. I live right next to this, I live in this amazing, perfect spot. I love it. The courses are right here, the little teeny house. I love it. But there's an incredibly big 5G tower. I even just bought a reader the other day to see how strong it would be. And it's way stronger than anywhere else around town. So
You think it's affecting you?
I'm aware that even my mental state, my mental relationship alone with it is affecting me.
Because your relationship with that is the reason why it's affecting you, because that's your truth.
Okay.
5G is just like a peach tree. It's the relationship you have with it.
Okay, so it's totally about the relationship.
100%. It has its validation. It is expressing the truth. Watch. This mug says it's a mug. But you understand, it's a light. It's a frequency of light that's manifested as an appearance for part of the experience. Roxy went to the store, or in this case, she ordered it and created this idea in her reality. And then when it showed up, it was in the idea of her mind, of her idea of, in her reality of potential. And then when it come by mail and she opened it up, it became physical. But it's just light. In the interpretation, you guys don't have a problem with the mug, but you got a problem with 5G. And 5G isn't a problem unless you make it a problem, but it's not wrong to make it a problem either, because it's your fucking roadie. It's your deal. So you recognize how you create your reality because 5G. Now, the guy that sits next to you has no problem with 5Gs and he won't have an experience with 5Gs. You're making that for your world, but you think it's encompassing to everybody. Is it valid? Does it have a thing? If you make it that. If you make it that, because you're the God accepting the truth in your reality that creates your experience. It's all about I am and I'm doing it to me. Now, is there validation to what it is? Yes. Do you create that if you validate it as what your memory bought into? Yes, because you're a God. So will you experience effects of it? Yes. Why? Because you're God. You got to get over that. Nothing has meaning except for meaning you give. Yes. Let me see the back of your hair. Is that a full mullet?
No, it's like
Okay, it's up. I got it. I just didn't know it was a mullet or not. I was like, I love it, man. It's for the mullet. Anyways, it looks good. So you have the perfect butt. So now you're feeding a part of you. You're having an experience of what the fractal does. Let's all look at it. Okay, let's do it. This is great. I love fucking teaching. Yeah, I guess that's why I'm here, right? Right. So you're born this hole of emptiness. This is NG. We've done this before, not God. So you have this vacuum. You're not filled with I am all that is, like you've been forever, right? And you remember you were I am, and you go, I want to see more of me. So you create another me. It smashes into you vibrationally. It passes through you, and you're like, I want more. So you kept on creating, and we keep on doing. Thanks for letting me be here. Appreciate it. So now that you come down here, this whole God comes down and looks through this perspective and then has an experience of not God. But it's still fucking God because it has. That never goes away. That's why you guys are creating your realities still. You're a part of it, but what you guys are using to create your reality is your polarity, your good and bad, your this and that, which is just a reaction because what's creating is your perception of yourself. Your will says, I'm not God right now, so you get not God experiences. So how you manage it is your polarity because that's all you've been taught. So let's look at it. So this emptiness is hungry. I need to be done. I need to do. I need persistence, passion, goals, become, create. And that's very human. Because I'm an effortless God and everything comes to me. I don't need to do anything. Because it's all I am. Think about it. But that doesn't make the ego happy because the ego needs to count. So all of a sudden, you got to attract this perfect world, but there's got to be something I can feed on because if it's perfect, I can't be happy. If you guys ever read Frank Herbert, then you know damn well in the Dune series, everyone's trying to find perfect peace, and he gave them peace, but the only way to do peace is force it. You have to find the peace within by taking the things that are non-peaceful out of it. Okay? So what you did is recognize, I got a perfect place. It's pure, it's the yard, it's cut, it's cute, small. I love it, but I'm going to feed on that. So I look at it and say, that's this, that's whatever it is. But you're having a vibrational frequency of resistance against it because it's 5G. It could have been lollipop. It could have been anything that someone said and you go, oh my God, that's valid. And you grabbed onto it as a truth, put it into your will, and then you start being that reality. You understand now, Stephen, how you create your world.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I don't mean to go on for too long, but I actually got this message last night. As I eat, really healthy and like organic, and last night I was with some friends and it was not quite as healthy or as organic, but I was like vibing into what you're saying about how I dominate all that experience and it's my relationship to it.
And let me just say something real quick. You got to see this. It's not healthy or organic until you say it is or say it isn't. You're still saying that. It's never a standard. It's always what you claim becomes your truth right now. There is nothing unhealthy and nothing inorganic. Everything is light. Everything is all real. Whether it's man-made, it still comes from the unconditional light bearer that you are. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, I totally get it. I guess the last point I would make is like Bashar sometimes saying like how we live in a really toxic world and there's a lot of influences out from coming into us, like unorganic food or this 5G or whatever.
Sure, because we validate those and they're very valid because that's put out there. But I'm letting you know you can change that within yourself because if you don't validate those things, you don't carry them with you. You're the God in your own bubble. He's just giving you aware. Bashar is giving you awareness of what is in your world as a truth that you have accepted. And you can't just unaccept and say deny it, because it's automatic in this idea of polarity. So you have to recognize the frequency within yourself that is your valid truth that creates that interpretation and that experience.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Booyah. You're welcome.
Right quick on that subject line, how would you describe, say, these, like I just posted, do we have these permission slips of organite, or these sort of these 5G blockers or
And those
EMF
work
things?
person that is those truths.
And so it's basically, we believe that into that collective agreement belief system that these.
Not collective. Collective
Okay.
gave it to you, but you take it individually.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. And then
Organize.
Yeah.
You got
And-
it. Roxanne
and
took it and says, hey, yeah, it looks fun.
yeah, and then we can make that part of our, our
Absolutely.
5G blocker reality and
You
grid
can-
our place. And
But you're
Exactly.
creating that as a truth, as part of your experience. Remember, there is nothing standard or permanent outside of you until you make it and put it into concrete and make it a foundation.
well, how does it work then? For example, when they put some of these towers, this is just not even 5G. Back in the day, they had the microwave towers and these types of things near schools and things. So then, on that section of the building where it was close to that,
It was very valid in the
And-
people that said this is affecting, right?
well, the people that didn't even know it was there, or didn't even know it was affecting them, and then they turned out to have tumors and cancers and that kinds of things. So how does that work when you're unaware of it, but then somehow later it manifests itself in a negative reality?
Okay, but
is it negative? I see. So the idea that because of the cancers,
My
is that
cancer is not negative. Your cancer is not negative. Your cancer, my cancer, anyone's cancer is experiential. God
I
damn
see.
it, guys. You joined a master class of absolute unconditional realities to see them through the perspective of conditions, so you may have the experience of separation. You got to look at a bigger point of view here.
Gotcha.
So now, is that cancer valid because it vibrated in that and those frequencies, those individual people? Now watch this. This is going to fuck you up a little bit.
Okay.
Those individual people that got cancer through the idea of that was said because of this caused it. They accepted that moment and created that reality. It came to yours and you said yes to it. So now it's your reality.
Okay. Okay. But is that there's lessons there?
Of course there is. There's always the idea of looking at it from a different perspective and evolutionary. Whatever it was 10 years ago, it better not be today the same. It's got to be evolutionary so you can grow on top of those old truths that climbing the ladder of ascension, evolving, enlightening is a journey of 1,000+ frickin' steps to find yourself in the regard of recognizing your separation. But of course, everything is experience is a quote, a lesson from. But make sure, guys, you don't put it as a lesson as that you're less than, so you can have a lesson to be better than. Okay? Because no one's less than. God,
Sure.
you're not fucking less than. You guys are gods, and you have a lot of balls to come down, so to speak, with Roxy. She goes, fuck you, Sly. Anyways,
And-
go ahead.
And what about like the perceived negative events on like nature and other
Those
natural?
are very impactful things.
Mhm.
They're showing humanity. Hey, you guys want to keep fucking up or you want to wake up? There's a
Okay.
better way. And people are coming up with better ways.
Mhm.
Obviously, look what's happening with the idea of your electric vehicles, the electricity, right? That electricity got to come from batteries, and batteries got to be mined. So you're using the mines. And now there's a whole thing about all the people out there because it's dualistic. There's never a salvation as long as you see polarity view.
Mhm.
So what this is opportunity to always see, I don't need to see this as a polarity for each individual. I can see it as creation, working it out, evolving.
Mhm.
Planet's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine because you're not creating one Earth, you're creating billions of Earth. You're creating your Earth. So there's a lot of Earths that aren't going to have those effects on your Earth. They're going to be relative in the moment if they vibrate and give you an idea of a perspective in that individual moment. But as a collective, you guys are the hottest you've ever been. That's a collective truth. That's mass ideas. That's a collective idea. It's very, very, but how you feel about it is Michelle's question, is an individual take. It's like it's just hot. I don't care if it's been hot and never recorded. I don't need to understand that. It doesn't bother me. It is not my truth. Or I can make it a thing like, oh my God, we're getting hotter and we're all going to burn up one day. And I can live with that affection.
And we can use that to help us navigate what we
Yes.
desire.
You're getting better at it. It may look like chaos, but you're starting to see, wait a minute, we don't need to be these people. Your politics are showing you exactly what you guys don't want to be. Human collective is going to turn your absolute governments into administrative, and they're going to be working for the human. Right now, you guys are working for your governments. That's going to change as a collective. You're going to stop working for them and start being yourself and having them. Let's see, probably Japan. You're very familiar with Japan. Do you see how governments take care of their people?
Yes and no.
Well, not the no side, because you're duality.
Okay.
But you see, if you're drunk in this street, in America, they arrest you. And there, they put you in a drunk tank in a little hotel so you can sleep it off. It's okay to get drunk.
Right. Yeah.
That kind of idea. And they make sure that the sidewalks are this, and
Right.
and the subways are on time, and then they're working. That's just a seed that you're starting to see that the people are the ones. If you don't vote in a democracy, then you can't bitch about what you got. That kind of idea. So you can be a part of that system, or you don't even have to worry about the system, because it doesn't matter who's in political control, because you don't see the world with those eyes.
Right.
Which is very difficult to understand from a person that's only seen the world in those eyes, because that's all you've been by nature. That's the gift you've given yourself of separation. Make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah. We're working it out.
Of course you are. So the world's fine. It's gonna get better.
Yeah.
You've got there will be better technologies and things like that. It's all coming.
Excellent. All right, Paul, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you have any comment about the nature of cause and effect. And in particular, I kind of the download that I got anyway. I don't know how valid this is, but
very valid in your world. Go ahead.
Yeah. That there's the cause and effect in terms of the physical laws that are around us, but there's cause and effect that's more astral in nature.
You mean like outside of the frequency of humanity, a cause and effect?
Yeah, I guess maybe on the other side, so to speak, in the quantum world, cause and effect versus.
Well, first off, let me see. It can't be a cause unless it's claimed as a cause. How about it can be a change? So if this thing explodes and it puts up a vibration and it takes this thing and changes the frequency of it, someone says this explosion caused this to do this. That's cause and effect through the idea for the perception of the individual experiencing that and then creating that interpretation as their experience. But me, on a different point of view, this thing exploded and it changed this thing. So this was looking to get changed, so this did it in order so it can fulfill its own change. So it attracted an explosion so it can change itself.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Cool. I'm glad I can be of service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. Just in the chat, and I was just gonna reply here. Michelle was asking curious about the collective versus the individual experience, and I sort of went into like there really is only the individual experience, because that's all we're capable of experiencing.
Yes.
So we have the illusion of a collective experience, but it's still going through our individual filter.
Make sure you understand it's an illusion of not fake. It's not fake.
Right.
It's still a collective that you create as other people. Because in your memory, you have parents and you have friends and you have a world outside, and it is a co-created, valid idea of humanity. So you have a collective of whole ideas, and then you have the individual experiencing the whole individually. So it's not invalid that the collective is there. It's
Right.
very valid, but it only happens to you in the now, and the way it happens is up to you.
There we go. Hopefully that answers Michelle's question. I think that's so one I do the Friday night news, Langdon's Lowdown, and I use the news as a pulse on how the collective is reacting. But then I realize I'm handpicking and selecting these news articles to project to share with everybody else. But it's still Langdon's Lowdown, quote unquote, right? It's still the version of reality that Reuben Langdon sees through his individual lens of
And
the
that's
collective.
and that's beautiful.
Well, sometimes it's scary because I post some pretty scary stuff.
But see, whoever's attracted to it
Yeah.
is their world, and let them have it. You're
Right,
being your truth. If you're being truth for a reason, then you may be wanting to look at your motivations behind what things you choose, because you're thinking they need to know this, or this is what I want to know more, so let me explore with them.
Right.
See the difference?
Yep. Yep.
And the
So
ones
there
that show
you
up
go,
are
guys.
attracted.
That's what's happened on Friday nights. It's still Langdon's Lowdown. So just make sure you understand that it's not.
Yeah, give it. If they're not interested, they won't show up.
Sure.
But if you're bringing a valid idea, experiential with your own expansion, that will radiate and that will reach the idea of the collective, and those that will find you, attract to you, will go, I want to know about Langdon's Lowdown. Let's listen. And they'll be there. And they'll get whatever they get.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you it'll be one thing: life. Booyah. Instead of
There
no.
you go. Yeah.
Remember,
That's
we're
it.
on the existence side of things. Yay, us.
Totally. Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun. Well, we're running out of time, so we'll do one more question with Laura, unless anybody has any last minute things to squeeze in here. But go ahead, Laura, and then we'll bring Roxy back.
Okay. Hi again.
Hey.
I'm wondering about your take on vibrational qualities of crystals.
Outstanding. Fourth density. The fourth density uses crystals all the time, because you can store information into them. They can tune them to certain frequencies that give you different harmonic resonance and stuff. Crystals are very, very valid. The potential of the crystal down on this planet is limited by the frequency that is within. You can open up crystals to be other things other than what you claim them to be. They are that in that claim, but you can also allow them to expand in a relationship. Because remember, everything is complementary to your world. Everything.
And my thing experiencing is that a big crystal collection, not the biggest in the world, but it's big, and it's all different crystals, and they're all displayed right next to my bed. And my concern lately is that okay? Basically.
Oh my God. Plus, it's your world.
You made it either you
No, that's your diarrhea. Flush that shit. You don't want. That's a belief system that's saying but now what you're doing is like we did before with Stephen. You're just feeding your ego to wondering if there's something wrong, so I can count again. So my emptiness is filled with the purpose of wondering if this is wrong. As simple as that. It's just
right.
It's just the ego's hungry and you're feeding. Don't let the ego hook on to you. Of course it's okay, because how long have you had it?
A year. Yeah.
Okay, are you here?
Yeah,
Thank
I'm here.
God
And I
you
live them. I enjoy them a lot.
What?
No.
Nothing's happened, right?
I live them a lot. Pardon me?
Nothing.
It is a little overwhelming.
Well, then take some
Correct.
down.
Right.
Give some away. Be your truth. You can't get it right or wrong. You have to discover I'm always right because I'm always me. Wrong is a perspective that lies within your own divided mind. That gives you the experience of division. Welcome home to the fractals, or welcome home me, and I can do whatever I want with it. because there's no loss in reality. Loss is an absence of self. You're not absent from yourself. You're absent from the experience of yourself. You're still there.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
knew that.
Of course you did. You wrote it. I'm just your reflection. I'm the actor in your screen, in your play, right?
And Sly, thank you too. I love you too. Awesome.
Thank you, Laura. All right. Well, Sly, thank you. I guess we'll bring
good.
Roxanne back and we'll
All
put a
right.
close on this amazing, fun Sunday.
No, I'm not an Essassani. I'm just a dude.
You just
See
a
ya.
dude. Bye, Sly.
Hey, guys. Hi.
Hey.
Fantastic. That was good
Yeah.
stuff.
Wow. Good. Oh, yeah. Very good. I'm loving the evolution and one in your personal journey, Roxanne, with just the integration of the teachings. You're just so wise, and we could just do a full session with Roxanne and go so many different places. So just to really appreciate your evolution and always bringing in Sly and the other beings you channel.
Yeah.
They're just such a nugget. I'll be pondering on this one for another year, maybe. We'll get you back before then.
Yeah. And that's what we want. We want the change. We want something else to ponder. We don't have to look at it as right or wrong. We could look at it as opportunity.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Expansion. Yeah.
That's the beauty of this work. It's so much fun to
Can I,
explore.
Can I talk about my schools coming up next month?
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah. Then the schools that I wrote, guys, and this is I've upgraded. I upgraded the workbook. The curriculum is still the same. I have workbooks for the classes. So each class is on my website. Each class is a month long. So every Tuesday we meet, we go over the workbook and we teach. And that's all about recognition and where it starts. You have to recognize within yourself what you are creating that is attracting and interpreting. And we have to recognize our own emotional belief systems. Bashar said it 1,000,000 times. And then the next school, which happens the next month, they'll spend the whole month. It's $150 for each month. So 4 months, $150 each. And that's a hell of a price for what you're getting. Trust me. Yeah, they're on Zoom calls. Yes, they're all on Zoom. So the second school is the Transcendent, lasts a month. The third school is Vibrational Tactician. That's where it's really fun. That's when we get to start reading each other's minds, trusting each other, doing the card work, doing our own channeling. And we really start to feel the difference between our memory and our fractal. And we can discern these frequencies and understand that's me, that's not me, but I still have a choice to be either one. And that's the greatest idea. Thank you, Lauren. And then the fourth one is persona development. So it's 4 months long. After that, if you go through these schools, then you can join in the advanced classes, which is on Wednesday nights, and then the same 150. And that's where Sly and them get into some powerful, powerful shit. Just really, really fun stuff. If you guys would be interested. Go ahead, Reuben, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying I'll put links to your website, and if you have a link directly to the course, then I'll put that in as well in the description.
Yeah, it's under Ascension Schools in the website. You'll see it's a tab at the top. It says Ascension Schools. And yes, they are, Sim, they are recorded. I have many people. I have them in Australia. I have them in, South Africa, England, of course, lots of students from England and Spain. So they're all recorded and, all different times. So absolutely, you'll get the recording and a copy of the PDF file of the work.
Catherine's asking, what time will you be doing those, or what?
They start at 7 p.m. Central Time, so it's 5 o'clock on Pacific and 8 o'clock on Eastern Time, and 10 p.m. if you're in Sydney, or 10 a.m. the next day on the 6th if you're in Sydney. Because they're 18 hours ahead or something.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Cool. Well, thanks again, Roxy. Love having you here. It's just it's just so amazing every time. So we got to do it soon again.
Jen, real quick, guys. I'm
Yep.
sorry. Jen asked a fantastic question. Yes, they include one-on-ones.
Oh,
If you have
okay.
something you need clarity on, we get together and we shoot the shit a little bit. And that's it. Okay.
Perfect.
All right,
right,
guys.
guys.
Thanks all for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Reuben.
Thank you.
Head to interviewwithed.com, click join, and let your curiosity lead you. Understanding that exploring these new worlds and concepts can make a positive difference in our personal lives and together as a collective.